Hello out there, Wayne County High School War Eagle football fans, and welcome to Homecoming Pregame Show down here at War Eagle Stadium with Kebney, K-Dog, and the Machine over here getting ready to throw down with the Tigers from McComb. First of all, homecoming. Now, what does that do? Does that do anything, Paul? I mean, it's a lot of other stuff going on, but how does that translate into the practice field and the locker room, if at all?
I don't know. With this team, I don't know that it does. And really, if you look at Wayne Academy, they have an event every day during the week of homecoming. I think if you have a setup like that, it distracts from your preparation. It distracts from what you need to be focused on. Here, I mean, yeah, they had dress-up days and stuff, but not the big festivities like some schools have. They had the homecoming parade rather than on Thursday night. They had it on Tuesday night. I just don't see it. I don't see it being a big factor with this year's team simply because of the way the festivities were handled this year. I mean, I would be surprised if they came out flat or slow out of the box. I think senior night will be a bigger concern than homecoming. And if you look at Wayne County over the years, homecoming has not been too big of a thing unless you're playing a really weak team like last year whenever we played Wingfield. This year you got a 5-0 McComb team coming in. It helps you keep your focus a lot more. But senior night, you got your parents on the field, and if you look at Wayne County, traditionally on senior night is when they come out of the box slow and struggle in the first half, but I don't think they will tonight.
He mentioned something I was going to get to you on, Kenny, and that is the opponent for tonight, the Tigers from McComb. They are 5-0. And they roll in here, and this is a district game, and it's already starting right now. It's getting big quick. We got this week and we got next week, and the district alignment's a lot's going to be learned about that tonight and next week.
Yeah, Coach Mangum and I talked about it on Coach's Corner this week. If folks heard the program, and I'm with Paul, but I'll even go a step further. A lot of times, homecoming. It's not as much a distraction as coaches let on. I mean, they always, that's generally to keep from upsetting the folks in the front office or whatever. But if you're a good football coach and you've got a program, you've got a routine, it's not that big a deal. I mean, it's not any different than having a special fundraising night or whatever. But when McComb's coming in, and go to touch back in on what Paul said, he's right. I mean, last year's Wingfield. This year's McComb. And a good football coach will get his team up for the good teams. Now, that doesn't mean he lets them down for the lesser teams, but it's a lot harder job because, as you heard Coach Mangum say, Marcus Ball say, you can't fool kids. And if there's a weak team coming in here, they know it. I mean, that's why they're in school, so they can read. I mean, they see the papers and stuff. So you've got a lot better football team coming here in McComb. They do a lot of things well. I mean, they beat Brookhaven last week, first time in I think 6 years they've beaten Brookhaven. Score was 28-21, and Brookhaven had a ton of turnovers. So it's a team that will take advantage of the mistakes and miscues that you make. So tonight, that's what our guys have got to do. They've got to keep those turnovers. We made a lot of progress last 2 weeks on getting that turnover margin back. We can't do that tonight. And I know that's been on the staff's mind all week, and it's something they've worked on. So, regardless of homecoming, this is a big football game for us. And you're right. We're looking down the road at West Jones. We've got Stone County's in that list. We've got Brookhaven in that list, and I mean it's going to be rough, and we better get our hats on and cinch down pretty tight because, as you said, this is where we're going to find out what we're made of.
This team comes in here, McComb. They played 5 games. They've only given up 69 points. We haven't played a defense yet that's given up that few points.
But, and not meaning to take anything away, but everybody all this week has talked about how this is such a big game for Wayne County. It's a big game for McComb. I mean, look at their wins. South Pike, North Pike, which are in their county, and they're required to play them, but you're looking at what, a 2A and a 3A. Then they go up and they play Terry, which is 3-3 this year. I mean, I don't think that they've played the caliber of teams that Wayne County has. So I would make the argument, with it being on the road, this may be a bigger game for McComb, trying to prove themselves that they belong in that upper echelon with the Wayne County and the West Jones and such, than it might be for Wayne County.
Wayne County comes in here putting about 31 up a game, giving up about 20. McComb comes in here giving up about, well, whatever 69 divided by 5 is, and scoring 26 a game. Most of their offense goes to that quarterback they've got. He's about a 48% completion passer, but they're doing about 150 yards a game passing. Wayne County's only giving up 88 yards a game, so they get more yards through the air than they do on the ground. That's kind of unusual.
Well, it is, and the reason for that is the athletes. I mean, it's the same thing we see year after year with McComb. You're always going to see good athletes over there. I mean, their basketball teams prove that because those kids play football. And so when you're facing those kind of athletes, they're able to do things that your average athlete won't do. This youngster, he's a junior. He's got a lot of foot speed, a lot of quickness, got a pretty good head on his shoulders.
He's big too.
And he is, yeah. He's got size. So for us tonight, I mean, the key things on defense for us are going to be to get pressure on him and control that line of scrimmage. All those same old cliches that you hear. But if we can put pressure on him and control that line of scrimmage, then that makes that passing game a lot harder. It also makes the running game harder. On the flip side, for us at Wayne County tonight, we've got to block. We've got to stay on our blocks. If we stay on our blocks, McComb's got some decent-sized kids defensive. They're pretty quick. And so what you do then is you got to stay on your block. And if we can get the same kind of downfield blocking tonight that we've got in games past, so that when we do break that line of scrimmage, we can reel off some big yards. And so tonight, we need to control the ball game on both sides, control time possession, the whole 9 yards. Now again, it goes back in years past where we've had 5 minutes possession in a 48-minute ball game and put up 50 points, because we've scored quick. This team's a little different, and we don't score quite as often as quickly as we have in past. But still, it's going to be just a game where we need to do what we do best, and if we do that, we're going to be okay.
It should be a great game here tonight, and we're looking forward to it. We're going to take a break now to hear from some of our sponsors, and then we're going to be back with our pregame interview of the head coach of the War Eagles, Coach Todd Mangum. So we'll see you after this break.
Smith's Automotive Recycling's been in Waynesboro for over 25 years, and Calvin Smith owns the only used parts store in Waynesboro. At Smith's, our warehouse is full of quality used parts from motors and transmissions to anything else you might need. Tail lights, mirrors, and there are plenty of new parts in stock. Calvin will make you a good deal, and Jasper will find you the best part in the house. Remember, Calvin is working for his grandchildren, and you too.
Here we are, as promised, with the head coach of the War Eagles, Todd Mangum. Coach, good to see you tonight. It's another Friday night, and we got us a big old district game here tonight, don't we?
Yeah, we're playing a tough McComb team. Team is undefeated overall. Team is undefeated in the division. There's 3 of us now that's undefeated in the division, and after tonight, for sure, there won't be but 2. Because West Jones will win tonight. They'll take care of business. So it's a big game tonight. Real big game. As far as the division race is concerned.
We're going to come back to this, but first, this is leading up to this game, and we talked a little bit about it earlier. Is homecoming any really a distraction for your team at all, or does your system pretty much take care of that?
Well, it's just as long as players keep it in perspective and everything. And we were lucky we had the parade and that kind of stuff early in the week and everything, so that was a good thing. And so they know the importance of the game, and they know we got to be focused and ready to play. And the only reason why they're having homecoming, we're having a football game. So they didn't have it last week, when we played on the road. But anyway, so we got to take care of our business tonight.
Let's talk about them now. We usually talk about what Wayne County's got to do, but let's look at our opponent tonight. They come here tonight. They've given up 69 points through 5 games, so they must play some pretty good defense. They
do. They're going to pressure the line of scrimmage. They're going to put 6-7 guys in the box and lock up man, and try to pressure the quarterback and try to stop the run with numbers, and it pose a threat. Anytime people feel confident where they can lock up man on you, and play run with 7 guys, it's pretty good. So it's gonna be tough for us. We've got to be able to run the football, but we've also got to be able to open up passing lanes, protect our quarterback.
Another thing about them, when we look at the other side of on their offensive side, the number they're averaging 26 points a game, and they pretty much everything revolves around this big old quarterback they got. But now it's interesting to note they seem, if the numbers right I've looked at, they get more yards a game through the air than they do running the ball.
Yeah, they do. They've they're balanced, but their big plays come through the passing game. Big quarterback too. He's a junior and it's his second year to start, so. He handles the offense well. They run some option, out of the gun, the spread stuff, and then do a real good job in the passing game, especially and run a lot of crossing routes and do a good job in the screen game and everything. So they've got probably 3 or 4 guys that can take it the distance from anywhere on the field. So again, defensively we got to hem them up, make sure we make sure tackles tonight.
Okay. Well, listen, we appreciate you taking time to see us. Maybe we can leave the lights on here. We'll be in our hometown tonight, and maybe the lights will stay on long enough for us to do a post game.
Hope so.
We're going to cut you loose. We're going to take a break to hear from some of our sponsors. We'll be back with the kickoff between the Tigers of McComb and your Wayne County High School War Eagles after this break.
If you're talking barbecue in Waynesboro, you're talking Huff and Puff Smokehouse Barbecue. Smoked, seasoned barbecue. That looks good. Let Huff and Puff cater your next event. From 20 to 620, we do it all. We can deliver, we can serve. Our delicious barbecue is guaranteed to make any event a hit. Take out or dine in, it's all good at Huff and Puff Smokehouse. For faster service, call ahead.
Okay, we got a special treat for us tonight. We got the head coach of the men's War Eagle basketball team, Coach Ron Norman. And Coach, I appreciate you taking time to come with us tonight. And we want to, the last few years since you've been here, Wayne County basketball has just been so exciting, and y'all have had so much going on, so many accomplishments now. A couple of years ago, we won a state championship. Last year, just led the pack all year long. 2 dandy dozen guys who are gone now. Let's talk about where you've been. Let's talk about where you've been and what you want to do program-wise, and then we'll talk about this year.
Well, this was when I got here. Coach Bowles brought me in 6 years now it'll be, and
Wow.
he told me, he said, Coach, I tell you, we're going to have some kids that really believe in that Wayne County that we put on every night. And these kids will play, they'll compete, they're not afraid of anybody. They think everybody ought to be afraid of Wayne County. And when I got here, it was evident. No matter who we played, our kids didn't care how much I said how great these teams were. They was like, Coach, we Wayne County. And that was infectious for us. And our kids bought in. And we talked about wanting to be, when I got here, I said I want to be just like the programs that's been here before me, Coach Boyles and the boy football program, girls with Gina, our softball program, girls softball have really gotten better. Well, I wanted our kids to be perennial. And over the last 6 years, Wayne County boys basketball has been in that same sentence, perennial. Yes, I don't know how good they're going to be, but we're going to be there. And we've gotten there once and won it. Got there last year, came up a little short, but I'm proud of where we've came as a program. But now it's starting over, And I got a whole bunch of kids that haven't been there, but guess what? They think they're really good. And that's half the process is believing. And sometimes when we like with our football program, no matter who they say, and one of our shirts has had, we don't rebuild, we reload. Yeah. Well, even if we're not rebuilding, people think we're reloading, and that's part of the process. And our kids feel like, you know what? We're reloading again, Coach, and we're going to be good again. So we don't have dandy dozens, but I got a group of kids that believe they can accomplish the same things.
Well, you got to believe to achieve.
Yes,
it starts with belief. What do you going to continue to play? I mean, you just play such an up-tempo, such a strong pressure. That's your mantra? That's what you're going to coach? That's what you're going to get them to do?
You know what? Honestly, you got to have something you hang your hat on. And we hang our hat on there. We're not going to be blessed every year with 6'7" and 6'8" and 6'9". So we got to take the kids that we have in this pool, and we're going to use the maximum of their abilities. We're going to get them about 6'2", 6'3" on down. But, God, they play with a lot of effort and a lot of heart. And they bought into that, Coach. You know what? we're going to outwork them. And I remember playing some teams in the fourth quarter where come over there and the kids say, Coach, look, they tired. Look at them grabbing their shorts, Coach. So, that's the things that we want to hang our hat on. That's how we're going to play, whether we got dandy dozens or not. That's how we're going to play around here.
Well, I want to say this about you. They say that a team a lot of times takes on the nature and character of its coach. and I believe that watching you around this town, you're so vibrant and so alive, and it's just so infectious, and your big smile and your positive attitude. I watch you and hear you on these sidelines, and you want to be out there on that football field so bad you can't stand it.
But, I think that's about promoting good things. Kids are a reflection of their coach, and if you're kind of laid back and you don't coach with a passion, guess what? Your kids, they don't play with a passion. I want them to see me with a passion, cheering these football kids on, cheering the baseball team on, the girls basketball team, because I just feel like it's a family environment. And when Wayne County wins and whatever, we all win, because we don't ever say, people, when we go off to other areas, people don't say, the Wayne County girls team or the Wayne County football. They see me and say, man, y'all real good. Yeah. Y'all did this. So it's all about Wayne County no matter where we go.
Well, let's talk about the season now. Let's just put it from a time standpoint. When does all this start? When
28 days we have our regular season game. We start November 1st in a jamboree, and then we go November 6th for our first regular season game against Laurel, the defending 4A South State champion. So it's going to be a battle right off the top. We have a strenuous schedule again. That's really going to test our kids. We're going to play Amanda Elsie, which is the 4A state champion. We're playing Gulfport, 6A state participant. Bay Springs, 2A South State champion. So our team, our schedule is scattered with some real good teams that's going to test us and get us ready for division.
Well, we appreciate you so much and what you're doing and the way you do it here at Wayne County, because you represent what Wayne County is all about, and we appreciate that very much. So you guys stay in touch with the basketball program and support Coach Norman and his War Eagle basketball team. We're going to take a break now to hear from some sponsors again, and then we'll be back with more Wayne County High School War Eagle football. See you after the break.
Smith's Automotive Recycling's been in Waynesboro for over 25 years, and Calvin Smith owns the only used parts store in Waynesboro. At Smith's, our warehouse is full of quality used parts from motors and transmissions to anything else you might need. Tail lights, mirrors, and there are plenty of new parts in stock. Calvin will make you a good deal, and Jasper will find you the best part in the house. Remember, Calvin is working for his grandchildren, and you too.
Feverishly, as Kenny has up here in the booth, and it's just been a wild first half. We got some stats here, and looking at it, Paul sent these up from down the field. Wayne County has got 9 first downs. They have 20 rushes for 265 yards. They're 5 of 9 passing for 77 yards. They've lost 1 out of 2 fumbles. They've been penalized twice for 15 yards. Let's look over here and see what 11 first downs for McComb. They're 151 yards rushing on 21 attempts and 10 of 23 passing with 2 interceptions. They do have 186 yards passing though. That's a lot of yardage, Kenny.
That's a game total.
That's a game total. Now we've got they've lost 1 out of 2 fumbles, but here's a big thing for them. They've had 85 yards of penalties on 11, and they've been very costly penalties.
9 of those have been holding calls in crucial times for them, too.
It's something you mentioned. Greg Miller has kept Jarvis is 4 out of 8 for 51 yards. He's got a touchdown with no picks. And then D. Jarvis Chambers has got 3 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown. We got time of possession. Wayne County's had the ball for 8 minutes and 20 seconds as compared to 15:40 out of time of possession for McComb. You know, Kenny is talking about making hay while the sun shines. Wayne County has a tendency to do that. Where they never have much time of possession, but 43 points.
Well, I mean, and you look at the yardage. That's I was just trying to do a little addition here in my head. It's 32, and that is let's see, 30, 40, 343 yards in the first half for Wayne County, and 7 and 3, 30. 337 yards for McComb. So the yardage is pretty close. But that stat for rushes, 20 rushes, 265 yards, that's over 10 yards a rush.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And so, when you can do that, you're controlling the tempo of the football game.
On the defensive side of the ball, Wayne County's Keane and Fuqua's got 6, and Lee Van Bonner's got looks like 5, and Tristan Clinton's got a pick, and Gary Myers got a pick 6. So it's a big first half, a lot of numbers to report, but that's it in a nutshell. We'll keep this. We thank Paul for getting us up to it. We're going to keep this handy. We can refer to it during the second half some. We're going to take a break and hear from some of our sponsors and be back for the second half of homecoming between Wayne County and McComb.
If you're talking barbecue in Waynesboro, you're talking Huff and Puff Smokehouse Barbecue. Smoked, seasoned barbecue. That looks good. Let Huff and Puff cater your next event. From 20 to 620, we do it all. We can deliver, we can serve. Our delicious barbecue is guaranteed to make any event a hit. Take out or dine in, it's all good at Huff and Puff Smokehouse. For faster service, call ahead.
Okay, post game on the turf. Coach Mangum. Whoo! I tell you what, that was about as crazy a first half of football as we've ever seen, Coach.
First quarter. The first quarter lasted for, I think, about 50 minutes. I think that's the longest 12 minutes of my life, and it's probably in 26 years of coaching, I think that's the wildest first quarter I've ever been. Over 500 yards of offense between the two teams in the first quarter alone, and that's and we knew it was going to be tough and everything, and they were going to come out and challenge us, and it was something else. Keane and I kind of joked after that thing got going, and it just bam, touchdown, bam, touchdown, bam, touchdown. And we said, there's an awful lot of offense down there. And fortunately, right now, the only one that seems to be playing defense was Wayne County there. Finally, we got it cranked up there, and it's so funny how games, momentum can change and just bounce back and forth. It went from being a ping pong match to, us just, scoring and stopping them and everything. We give up 15 points in the first quarter, and then we don't give up any more, So, it's wild. It's, that ball's not round, so it don't always bounce straight up.
That's right. Let me ask you something, and we were wondering about this, and we could miss it. I could miss it, but I noticed that it didn't seem like you had that unit. You got Terrell, you got Mayfield, and you got Myers, and they didn't put them in there as a unit. That defensive front until later on.
In the second quarter.
Started the second quarter.
Yeah.
Was that by design?
No, that was just some issues that we had. Our guys understand that if you miss practice, you're going to see it. For first quarter, okay. And for various reasons they missed some practice this week, and so it was basically that.
Well, Keane said it might have been something like that, but I will say this, boy, when they stepped up there and they got their chest, buddy, they laid their ears back, and son, that was really a big turning point with that defense, where your defense really started to take off.
It makes a difference. It all starts up front, Marshall, and we talk about that all the time, and so that's when those guys came in, our front play just became that much better.
Well, you that's a big district game. Things starting to clarify now, and oh boy, it's going to really clarify after next Friday night when we head over there for So-So to take on those old Mustangs.
Yeah, there's now 2 undefeated teams in our division now, and then by this time next Friday night there'll only be 1.
Well, it ought to be a world of fun. We're looking forward to it. Listen, any final observations you'd like to share with us about what you saw out here tonight?
Well, I thought we had guys that really had to step up because we've got guys that went out for various injuries and everything. We had to have some guys to kind of step up and first of all, the coaches did a great job of having guys prepared to go in and make plays, and then our guys that went in and made those plays. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. It kind of those coaches did a great job on that, and then the players did a good job going out and doing it.
Coach, congratulations on another victory. We look forward to next week, and we're going to take a break. We'll cut you loose. We're going to take a break and be back with the machine and K-Dog to wrap this thing up and see what it looks like statistically speaking. See you after this break.
If you're talking barbecue in Waynesboro, you're talking Huff and Puff Smokehouse Barbecue. Smoked, seasoned barbecue. That looks good. Let Huff and Puff cater your next event. From 20 to 620, we do it all. We can deliver, we can serve. Our delicious barbecue is guaranteed to make any event a hit. Take out or dine in, it's all good at Huff and Puff Smokehouse. For faster service, call ahead.
Okay, here we are with the dynamic duo here, and we got Paul. Good grief, man! I know you've been some kind of busy. Let's hear what it looks like.
It calmed down a lot after the first quarter, but nearly 1,000 yards of total offense between the two teams. I think it was like 998, something like that. So that's pretty close. For Wayne County, 15 first downs, 377 yards rushing, 85 passing, 55 offensive snaps, 2 fumbles. They lost 1. Of course, now in that total is the fumble that accounted for a minus 35-yard gain. So if you take that out of the factor, all of a sudden they're up over 400 yards rushing. 5 penalties, 2 punts, 3 of 8 on third down, 18 minutes, 54 seconds the time of possession. Greg Miller, a monster game, 12 rushes, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jarvis Chambers, 56, DJ Sims, 54. Jarvis, 4 of 8 passing for 51 yards. David Hodo, 2 of 7 for 34. DeJarvis Chambers, 3 catches for 44. Fabrikas Walker, 2 for 34. For McComb, 16 first downs, 289 yards rushing, 216 passing. The big statistic, 16 penalties for 130 yards. So really shot themselves in the foot there. 5 of 14 on third down, 1 of 3 on fourth down. Defensively, Keenan Fuqua, 7 tackles. Cindric Malone, 7. Levon Bonner and Hunter Wadley and Jamal Poe with 6 each. Sacks from Gary Myers, who also had the pick 6 interception. Interception from Cindric Malone. Interception from Treston Cochran. Lots of pass breakups. Recovered fumble by Stanka Harris. And Hayden Shelby caused the fumble. So a pretty wild and woolly night.
For a stat guy, there's something you can hang your hat on. You were making a comment here during the break now about this game. Talk about it.
I think it's one of the best football games we've won here in a long, long time. We've had some exciting games here in the last 10 or 12 years. The second half probably would bore you to death, but I tell you what, that first quarter was 12 minutes of sheer terror. I mean, it's almost like 3 engines on a 4-engine plane go out. I mean, it was one of those kind of ball games and first quarters. And the thing that impressed me the most about our ball club, and we talked about this, during the broadcast, was that we answered when they got physical. We answered, and not only did we answer, but we stepped it up another notch. And we talked about how that at some point that would begin to show itself. That if we maintained that same level of not only matching but stepping up, it would take its toll on McComb, and it did. Of course, it took its toll on us. We had a bunch of guys coming out tonight limping and holding arms and that kind of stuff. And, of course, Jarvis, we don't know exactly but what the extent of his injury. But, I think when you look at this was taking even with the second half, if you take it in, it was a complete ball game for us. We ran the ball extremely well. We threw the ball well and caught it. And then Alan Hodo did a great job, or not Alan, but David did a great job to step in and handle this thing from, halfway through the second quarter on, and hey, our guys rallied around him because I'll tell you, he can't do it by himself. And I thought our kids did a great job of stepping up around him and taking this thing, just eating the clock up. And by the the end of that drive, McComb had in the third quarter, that first drive at series. After that, the win was out of their sails for the most part, at least offensively.
Big game, and I tell you, when you come in here tonight, that our district would really begin to clarify, and fortunately, it's kind of clarifying, and Wayne County still got the head sticking up out of the smoke. Going to really get interested next week.
Yeah, and like Kenny said, a lot of players coming off the field, a lot of injuries. About midway through the third quarter, we didn't have a starting defensive back out there because they were all over getting treatment. Defensive line got beat up. Jarvis Chambers, even if it's an ankle sprain, you have to think David Hodo's going to be the starter. And what a game to get your first start in over in Soso, Mississippi, against those ne'er-do-well Mustangs of West Jones.
Ne'er-do-well, I love it. Well, any closing thoughts as we prepare to head on over to West Jones next week?
As Richard would say, I'll tell you this, if we play as physical, and I don't know that we will because we're going to be pretty banged up after tonight, but I'll tell you what, if this football team will play as physical as they played tonight for the next couple of 3 weeks, we're going to be in good shape. Again, not taking anything away from West Jones. Great coaches, great players, great school, just great place altogether. But let me tell you,
take this microphone away from you.
Let me tell you, there's not going to be too many folks in our district and in the South region, with the exception of maybe Picayune, that are going to be able to go tit for tat for us physically. Picayune can do it. I mean, we've seen film on them. But if our guys, if the light flashes and begins to catch, and really comes on, they understand how capable, how physical they're capable of being. This is going to be a tough bunch to beat.
Paul, anything in closing?
No, I mean, it's going to be – you hate to say that at this point in the season that next week could decide who's the number one seed. But realistically, look at it. Brookhaven's struggling this year. Stone's struggling this year. South Jones – that's basically all that's left on the schedule after this one. So you got to think, if, like Kenny said, they can play that physical brand of football, it's going to be a real physical, hard-hitting game next week. But if they can do it, and if they can come out of Soso with a win, they're in the driver's seat, no doubt about it.
Let us encourage you next Friday night to make your way over to Soso too. We've had some good crowds, and it's going to be time for a good crowd next week. As you know, this is head-to-head, the series, the documentation, this rivalry, and I tell you, it's got everything it needs to be big, big, big next Friday night in Soso. So let us encourage you to get out and make your way over there, support your War Eagles as they make their case for a district championship here next Friday night. So for the dream, the machine, and for Kenny, we want to say, and I also want to remember Ken Roberts and Rebecca for the work they do in the filming and the editing, making our programs possible for you, and let them know, and as well as our sponsors, that you appreciate what they do to bring Wayne County High School War Eagle football to you on the replay on CMA 10. We'll see you next week for more Wayne County High School War Eagle football.